6:10 through 14 and give us a foundation where we are in the book of Genesis. Talking about creation versus evolution, aren't we?
Yes. The earth was depraved and putrid in God's sight, and the land was filled with violence, desecrations, infringement, outrage, assault, and lust for power. And God looked upon the world and saw how degenerate, debased, and vicious it was, for all humanity had corrupted their way upon the earth and lost their true direction. God said to Noah, I intend to make an end of all flesh, for through man the land has been filled with violence, and behold, I will destroy them with the land. Make yourself an ark of gopher or cypress wood, and make in it rooms, stalls, pens, coops, nests, cages, and compartments, and cover it inside and out with pitch, bitumen.
All right, that's tar. He's going to tar that thing. I remember a long time ago, a friend of mine, we were childhood buddies, we found a piece of tin and a couple of 4x4s, and this piece of tin had holes all in it. And we took that piece of tin and folded it in half, and we made ourselves a canoe. But I'm going to tell you something, we had tar all over us because we had tarred that thing, and I mean, we looked like we'd been tarred and feathered the time we went any place in that canoe made out of tin. We finally ended up making a raft. And you know, this boat is more like a raft than anything, except it's an enclosed raft. It's not a ship, it's not a boat, it's not going anyplace, is it? Not going anyplace. All it is going to do is people and animals are going to go in this, and they're going to be protected. And God, now, you have to realize that the Bible is the foundation of all archaeology, all anthropology, all geography in the world. This is the most foundational book. Now, I don't know why I brought this to your attention before. The Muslims took bits and pieces of Muhammad, took bits and pieces of the Bible, and just totally corrupted it. It's just all messed up in the Quran. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make archaeological sense. It doesn't make geological sense or anything like that. For instance, Noah's sons were born after the flood, according to Muhammad, not before the flood. Okay? If they were born after the flood, where did they get their wives? Where did they get their wives? Okay? Real simple things like this. Noah had one son before the flood, and he built this ark, and the Bible tells you how big the ark is. How big is the ark? Floyd, you know how big that ark is? No. Okay, I had a speaker here a while back telling me it's as big as a football field. Bigger than a football field, big as a football field, and it's 450 feet long. It's 75 feet by 45 feet. Here we have a gigantic box. Now, according to Muhammad, when Noah got his boat built, it started raining, and water was coming all over the place like this, and the animals, he got the animals in and drug them in there in the ark, and he looks out there, and here's this boy swimming. And Noah hollers out there, son, come and get in the ark. Oh, that's all right, Dad. I'm all right. You know, I can swim real good. He just keeps swimming. Finally, he drowns. And then he has these children after the ark, after the flood. That's not what the Bible teaches, nor is it anything remotely possible. Okay? Muslims have as much faith as the evolutionist, because the evolutionist cannot prove by mathematics at all evolution. It's not possible. The evolution of the human eye, just think about that, or a cat eye, or a dog eye, or a snake eye, or whatever. Just these eyes are very intricate. How did that happen? And most animals have how many eyes? 2. the digestive system, the immune system of the human. All of this is just fantastic. How did all this happen? How did it happen? Blood clotting that God told about when he had all of the children circumcised on the, how many days? 8th day. That's when your blood clots, when you're a baby. Do you think Abraham knew that? Do you think Adam even knew about anything like that? Modern science knows that, but we look back to the Bible and everything that modern science tells us, the Bible just is there. The Bible said when you go into the land of Canaan, if a house has leprosy on it, leprosy. Now leprosy in the Bible, what is called leprosy, is actually more than just leprosy. Leprosy is staph infection. Those people in the land of Canaan they had a lot of disease. That's all I can say. They had a lot of disease. They had all types of venereal disease. They had staph infection. They had all kinds of stuff in that land. And because of it was their filthiness of their lives and everything. And the Lord told them, as they were out there in the wilderness, rules that all modern armies obey. Rules of cleanliness. And it kept them from getting sick. And when they go into the land of Canaan, it kept them from being infected by their diseases. In some places in the land of Canaan, God told them to kill everybody, man, woman, child, animals. You know why? Disease. It had to be cleaned. It had to be cleaned out. It had to be cleaned out. That would have affected them tremendously. Now, as you look at the Bible, as we look at this story here in the Bible about Noah's Ark, it is a factual story. They were studying archaeology around the Black Sea. You know where the Black Sea is? That's over there around, Russian, Germany, in that area. And they realized, you know what? There's tremendous evidence that there was a total flood here at one time. A total flood. When the flood came upon the earth, what did the earth look like? It was called what, geologically? Pangea, which means it was all, here's the earth, and it was earth on one side and water on the other side. That's what it was. Now, we still have enough water on this earth. We still have enough water. It's dry in places, isn't it? But we have enough water on this earth, and it's going to tell you how tall above the tallest mountain it was. Now, the mountains today are not the mountains here, are they? The mountains here are not the mountains that we have in the world today. The Sierras were not formed yet. Did you know that? The Sierras weren't formed yet when all this took place. This deal here. I don't know how tall the tallest mountain was, but I know how far the water went above the tallest mountain. Okay? Have you got that? Are we on the same page now? So now, as we look at this, let's go to 6:15. Wize, Asher, Ta'aseh, Otha, Shilosh, Mioth, Amah, Orika, Hateba, Ha, or Shameshim, Amah, Rachiba, Yushiloshim, Amah. Okay, what is they? What is they? What part of speech is they? They. Brother Roger? They. They. That's a relative pronoun. All right? And this, or which things, okay? And is a conjunction, and then they is and this, or which. And then we have a particle of relation. that asher. And this which. Now let's look at this word ta esse. Ta esse. Sharon, tell me about that. Conjugate that verb for me, would you?
Second person masculine singular, calendar perfect.
Okay. And you shall keep on making. And now we have otha. Otha. What is otha there?
It's a pronoun.
Okay.
Third person.
Uh-huh.
Feminine.
Feminine. Oh, you're doing real good. Why is it feminine? Why is it feminine?
Because of the towel.
The towel, right there. Barashith. Barashith. Why is that word plural? Barashith. That's plural. Brother Abe, now, you brought that out this morning very, very well and when you got up before the class this morning. Barashith. Barashith. The beginning of it starts with a what, Brother Abe? A base. And what is that base? That's a preposition, isn't it? It means in, and then rosh means head or beginning, and then tau means plural. In one of the beginnings, or in beginnings, but we know it's one of the beginnings because of the context. In one of the other word for barashith, Brother Roger, tell me what the other word for it is. What?
Belong.
Yes, in the eternities. In the eternities past. Okay, that's what we got in there in Barashith. And that's the first word in the Hebrew Bible, isn't it? Barashith bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et ha'aretz. In beginnings, he had created God, the heavens, we ha'aretz, and the earth. Now we're going to have Noah create something. Create. What does the word create mean, Pamela? Create. Bara. What does the word create mean? Brother Abe, create. What does it literally mean? What does it really mean? Bara. What word do we use constantly that come from the word bara? Barith. Brother Roger.
Covenant.
New Testament word. New Testament word. Diatheke, the Greek equivalent of barith. But it means what? To cut. To cut. So, cut and create. So, Noah is going to cut a lot of planks of wood, and he's going to make a great big boat. Now, I don't know whether he made a sawmill to do this or what happened. I don't know how he did it. Most people take for granted that how long did it take him to make the ark? How long did he have to make the ark? How long did he have, Brother Mike?
I didn't know why the number of 90 years, a long time.
How many years was it? How long did God give man before he's going to bring? 120 years. But we know that Enoch preached for at least 300 years, told him the judgment was coming. He named his child Methuselah, which means what? When he's dead shall come to pass. And how long did he live? 969 years. So did they have a lot of warning? Has the earth had a lot of warning about the second coming of Jesus? 2,000 years worth of it. Maybe as long, that we know that it was over 1,000 years that God warned that the flood was coming, didn't he? Over 1,000 years. And you shall keep on making her, all right? Orika means length. Length. Hot tiva is the boat or the ark. Ha on the front of it is what, Brother Roger? The boat. Okay, the boat. And then we have the word chamishim here. Hamishim, that is. Hamishim means 50, doesn't it? 50? 50, is that the word for 50? 50? All right, 50. 50 what?
Cubits.
Amah is cubits. How long is a cubit?
Like 18 inches.
Basically 18 inches. Okay, now let's go back and play with a little bit of mythology. How big we're talking about fact versus mythology, and evolution is mythology. It really is mythology. It's ridicule and it's ridiculous as many other things. How tall was Adam when Allah created him according to Muhammad? How tall was he? How far is the seventh heaven from earth? 40 million miles, according to Muhammad. Okay? So let's look at this again. How many earths were there, according to Muhammad? There's one egg-shaped earth like this. And here's Adam standing on the earth. 40 million miles away up here in the seventh heaven. Now, there aren't seven heavens, but Muhammad believed there's seven heavens, okay? And there's a guardian in each one of these heavens, one of the patriarchs or whatever. And Adam, when he was created, his head and shoulders were up here in the seventh heaven. So he's more than 40 million miles tall. How big is the earth? What's the circumference of the earth? Anybody know?
25,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So it's halfway to the sun.
Well, yeah. He's beyond the sun. He's beyond the sun, according to them. He went way up past the stars and everything. He's way up here. That's how tall he is. Now, the earth is not very big. The earth would be like a pebble underneath his feet, like a pebble of salt underneath his feet. And how many earths were there, according to Muhammad? 7 earths. 6 are flat. And one's egg-shaped. Okay, now, the angels started griping about Adam being up there in their business and hearing all their business, and so the angels were quarreling with God, Allah, and asking him, what are you going to do about Adam, this guy you created? He's up here, he's in our business, we can't do anything privately, he's always bothering us, listening and repeating and listening to everything that we're doing. So he shrunk him down to how tall?
90 feet.
60 cubits, according to the Quran, which is how many feet? 90 feet. Now, Adam, if he was 60 cubits tall, he would weigh about 270 tons, which the human structure of the bones could not support. So we have a F minus, F minus, F minus with all of this, don't we? Is that possible? Is this possible? It's nonsense. You have to have as much faith to believe in this as you do evolution. As simple as that. It takes faith. To believe in evolution is a great leap of faith. Every scientist will tell you that mathematically evolution is absolutely impossible. Let's go on a little bit further now. So now this ark is 50 cubits, which is 75 feet in her height. Komata. All right? Komata. Let's go to 16 now. Tizahar, Ta'aseh, Lativa, Wial, Ama, Ti Kalena, Mil Mela, Euphetek, Hatava, Beit Sidda, Tasim, Ta Chitiyim, Shinahim, Yushiloshim, Ta'ash Sina, Siha, that is. All right, light. These are light. Window or roof. Here we have a roof or a window. You shall make, all right, you shall keep on making a window, a place for light to come in, and you shall keep on making. To the ark, that's roof. And at 1.5 feet, you shall keep on finishing her throughout. From above. Look at all this is in the imperfect tense, and it's going to be hard labor in that PL. with a great force. You shall keep on making her throughout from above. And the euphitok and the door, the ark, in her side, literally in her insides, or at the side, bitazita, you shall keep on putting in lower story, in the lower part of it. And then second and third, you shall keep on making her. So how many stories is going to be tall? 3 stories tall. All right? She's going to be 3 stories tall. Pretty tall boat. Okay? 6 and verse 17. Wa'ani, hine, mevi, et, hamabul. Hamabul. Mayim, all haaretz, li shacheth, kol basar, asher, bo, ruach, chayim, metachath, hashemayim, kol asher ba'aretz, yigwah. And I, we ani, and I. Behold, hine. Behold, I am about to be bringing et is what? Sign of the direct object. Et hamabol. Hamabol. What's hamabol, Brother Roger?
A lot of water.
Lots of water. Flood. He's going to move waters. He's going to move waters. Now, was there water on the earth? Okay, what sources of water did we have before the flood? Here's the earth. Now, let's concentrate on this side of the earth where there is land. Eretz. All right? What's over here? How do we get water? How is this watered? Above the earth is what? Hashemayim. And above the earth is a great ocean completely surrounding the earth. It's like the earth is in a bubble of water. Up above the earth is a complete ocean. All around the earth is the ocean. Right now, if you look outside, or at least when I came in, up above the earth, there was a lot of water. Now it's in cloud form. It's evaporated up there, and it has to get something to particles to make it come together, and it'll fall down as rain, huh? But we're not talking about clouds here. We're talking about water. Tremendous amount of water around the earth. And that's water at this period of time. Now, how old was the earth when this flood came? Basically, how old was the earth? The seventh man from Adam named his child, which was Methuselah, Enoch, the seventh man from Adam, named his child, and that almost lasted 1,000 years. So the earth was in this form for a long time, wasn't it? Maybe close to 2,000 years or so, however long it was, according to what chronology you go by. Here we have the earth completely surrounded with water. What was there in Eden? Eden. The pleasure park? Yeah, but what was going on there? Pamela, what was in that? There was some waterways in there. Did the Bible name the waterways?
3 rivers.
Oh, yeah, the 3 rivers. There were these rivers. And they were tributary to these rivers, and they were watering things, weren't they? Watering trees, watering gardens, doing all kinds of watering. Not only that, but there was no rain yet. No rain. This just mark out rain, no rain, okay? It had never rained before. With rain, you have clouds and you have what? Wind. Wind and clouds, and when the clouds get to working up there, it causes friction. And then what do you have? Lightning, which you see the lightning, and you hear thunder. And the word thunder in the Bible means what? The voice of God. The voice of God. That's what thunder was. They heard God's correcting voice, God's judgment, speaking, bad boys. Every time you heard thunder, it was bad boy. That's what you heard. Now, none of this had ever happened yet. Things are going to happen differently. Here we have rivers, okay, watering throughout the land. The earth is not the same earth there as it is today at all. The mountain ranges were not there, nothing like we see. There was one great mountain there, which is called what? Ararat, which is still over there, if it's the same mountain. And Ararat's very high, isn't it? Very tall. When I was going on the Mediterranean, it was very clear, and I looked way over there into Turkey, and I could see Ararat way over there with snow-top mountains over there. You've been over there, haven't you? Not in that area. Okay. You just fly up high enough to where you're 30,000 feet? Anything like where you could see over there? No. Anyway, you can see that mountain. It's a long way over there. But that mountain is there today. And according to many sources and many historical accounts, Noah's Ark has been found 2 or 3 different times. And it's been photographed and recorded and all kinds of stuff. But, by the way, Abe, there is food in that thing back there if you want to get it out, if any of you guys want some. There's some right back there. It's been recorded, the compartments and all of that, and the ancient wood, and the Russians had found it, and you can still go over there today and walk up on the mountain where they say they have found pieces of the ark all over. Well, the ark probably broke up between then and now. That's been, like 3,000 years ago or so. And behold, I'm about to bring the flood, Hamabul, the flood, the waters, Mayim waters. El, upon, what would be the New Testament equivalent to El, which means upon? What would that be, Brother Roger? Epi. Epi. Epi would be the New Testament equivalent. And then Ha, Oretz, upon the earth. What's the word for earth in the New Testament? It would be, if you translated this here, it would be epi, he, gain. All right? Epi, tain, gain. Upon the earth. All right? Upon the earth. And by the way, in Hebrew and in Greek, the earth is feminine. Both of them is feminine. Upon the earth. And then we have an infinitive. We have a PL infinitive here. PL infinitive construct. To spoil, ruin, or destroy. Kol, which means all. Basar, all flesh. What would be the word, this is basar in Hebrew, but what would be the word for flesh in the New Testament? In Greek. What's the word for flesh? Kaihologos sarx agenetes. Sarx. Yeah. Sarx. Upon all flesh. In which breath. Ruah. In which is breath. Ruah. Ruah is breath. What are these animals called that breathe? What are the animals called that breathe? There's some of these in the ocean even that breathe. Air. What are they called? Mammals. Thank you, young lady. You got an A+ in biology tonight. All right, breathing life. Chayim. Look at that word chayim. That's lives, breathing lives. From under the heavens. And the heavens there literally means the heavens at this period of time. So what does the word heavens there mean? Abe, what's the word Hashemayim mean, literally? Hashemayim. Hashemayim. What does it mean? Uplifted what? Uplifted waters. And so the first heaven above the earth was uplifted waters. Now, I don't know what took place between the earth and here, this breathing space here, whether it was pressurized or what. I don't know. But I know it existed because the Bible says it existed. We have a lot of water in the sky even today, but not in liquid form like it was here. Okay? Oceans in the sky. All the heavens, all the uplifted waters, right down where you see this, the word Hashemayim, right, put uplifted waters. Uplifted waters, okay? Because that's literally what it means. All which, ba'aretz, ba there means what? Ba. What does ba mean? That's a Greek or a Hebrew preposition, page 88, and it means in. All right? In. What is the Greek preposition that would be equivalent to this one? In. Where did we get our English preposition in? Right out of Greek. Means in. And in means what? What case is in usually in? In, usually in. In case, in is location. Locative. All right, locative case. Locative case. In earth. All right. And third person master senior cal imperfect. All of this life he shall keep on breathing out and expiring. They're going to expire. Breathe out and then no more breath. Breathe out and no more breath. The last breath they breathed out, when they breathed in water. And so they died. All of these mammals. Now, according to the book of Enoch, why in the world would God kill all these innocent animals? There were problems with the animals too. Problems with the animals. What were the angels doing with the animals according to the book of Enoch? Procreating with the animals, and they were raising all types of monstrosities. The Nephilim, which were the angels and the human offspring, were big, and they were killing and eating everything, which they weren't supposed to be eating any flesh. If you killed an animal before the flood, what was the penalty, Brother Abe? If you killed an animal before the flood, if you shed an animal's blood before the flood, other than sacrifice, what was the penalty there, Brother Roger?
Death.
Death was the death penalty. All of these people had the death penalty exacted upon them. Now, all these Nephilim, they're killing and eating flesh. This is what the vampires were, because they were drinking the blood, and in the blood is the life, and in the blood God still looks upon all blood as what? Sacred, because it carries the life. And God breathed in the man. God created man not from a mud doll. I know that's real shocking when you read your King James Bible and all the other translations that followed suit. God did not create man from a dirt ball, a mud ball, or clay. By the way, Muhammad makes the same mistake. He created him from clay. Okay, he didn't create him from clay, did he? What did he create him from?
The elements.
The same elements that he created clay from. Man was not a secondary creation. He is a primary creation right straight from the hands of God. And he breathed in the man. He formed him as he formed the dust of the ground. And then he breathed into him the breathings of lives. And what did he breathe into him? Blood. What part of Jesus came from God? The blood. And so there he had divine blood in him. And that divine blood was shed before the cross and on the cross of Calvary. Okay? That's divine blood. That was redeeming blood. According to Muhammad, Jesus never died on the cross. According to the Gnostics, where he got his information, by the way, the Gnostics were running rampant over there in Arabia and the area where he was chasing around. And he picked up a lot of these stories. He had one wife that was given to him by an Egyptian, and she was a Coptic wife, and from what we know in history, he gained a lot of intellect intelligence from her about the Bible. So there's where he gathered up some of this stuff. He didn't have to read. Matter of fact, the Bible was a very rare book, wasn't it, back at that time? The Bible was extremely rare. For somebody to have a Bible, they didn't, basically. They didn't have the Bible. I mean, they had bits and pieces. Some churches at that time, we know historically that some churches only had 2 or 3 books. The greatest church group that we have today, one of the greatest ones that come directly down from them, are the Amish and the Mennonites that come from that period of time. And they came from what part of the world, Brother Roger? Turkey. Originally, they migrated from Turkey into the Alps. And they hid out there because they could not openly worship, or they would be killed. Because we have 2 big vicious animals in the world. 2 big religious vicious animals. What were the 2 vicious animals at this time?
Catholic and Muslim.
The Catholic and the Muslim. Both of them were twin sisters of rape and pillage. That's what they did. Rape and pillage. And steal. The Muslims made their living by raping, pillaging, and stealing. From the very time Muhammad started. When he went from Mecca to Medina, he began his career of pillage and rape and murder. And theft. The knights, Ali Baba and his 40 knights, all of this is all based upon what Muhammad did back then. They would go out and he would attack his own family's caravans. And his family, what family did he come from? What tribe did he come from? The Quraysh. And he started attacking his own family and murdering and killing them and stealing everything. And he'd find out, he'd send out and get intelligence where they were going, and he would attack them and kill them. Rape and pillage. The Catholic Church was doing the same thing. If they could find out where Baptists were, they would go kill them. The Catholic Church killed between 50 and 100 million Baptists during the Dark Ages. That's a lot of people. Islam has killed over 270 million and still growing every day. Somebody is killed every day by Islamic people. Let's go on a little bit further, 618. Wa ha ki mati. Et barithi. Itak. Yuvati. El. Hativa. Ata. Yuvanika. Wiishtika. Uneshi. Vanika. Itika. Now, Sharon, I want you to conjugate that first verb there for me.
First person.
Construct.
Construct, okay.
Okay.
Singular. High.
Hifel.
Consecutive perfect.
All right. While consecutive perfect. Okay. And it comes from comb, doesn't it? That's the root. On page 877, by the way, through 879. And it means to stand or to establish. To stand or to establish. Brother Roger, what would be the New Testament Greek equivalent to that word? Histemi, to stand. All right, to stand or establish. I shall be building. All right, to establishing. First person construct, nephal, while consecutive verb. I will have established. Et, sign of direct object. Bariti, bariti. Bariti, what does that mean?
That's covenant.
This covenant.
Cutting.
Cutting, this covenant. This cutting. I'm going to do this. By the way, what kind of covenant is this? What kind of covenant is it? Floyd, do you know what covenants are? What kind of covenants are in the Bible? There's 2 kinds of covenants.
Promises that God makes.
There are promises or contracts. 2 kinds of covenants. What are they, Brother Roger?
A single where God says this is what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna swear by myself.
And that's what we call an unconditional covenant.
And then the
Has
other
nothing to do with that, and the other covenants are
one Where they make a deal.
conditional covenant. When Israel went into the land of Palestine, what kind of covenant was that? If you do this, I will do this. What kind of covenant? That's a conditional covenant. All right? The covenant with mankind today. I have sent my son. He has died for your sins. He was buried and he was raised. That's what we call the gospel. And by the way, in the book of Revelation, we have angels flying through heavens and they're preaching the eternal gospel. How long was that promise in existence, this eternal gospel? From eternity's past. God planned the way of salvation before he ever created anything. Not even an angel was created when he planned out how he was going to redeem everything that he was going to redeem. And we have people like Muhammad. We have people like the Pope. We have people like Charles Taze Russell. We have people like Arius of Alexandria, a long time ago. We have people like Joseph Smith, Mary Ellen White, which pervert, twist, and destroy and malign the purpose of God. There is one plan of salvation in the Bible, only one. There aren't many. There is one plan of salvation. There aren't many plans of salvation. I teach what is called dispensationalism. Dispensationalism. That's where we go back there. What we're talking about now is before the flood. Look on the chart over here. This is the flood, right before here. Right over here, when God dealt with Adam, he dealt with him in innocence to begin with. He fell, they ate, and then they were the establishment of do good and offer blood sacrifice. And what happened? Wickedness. And we have the hybrid between angels and humankind, which is absolute blasphemy. God created man in his image, and when these angels started procreating, they had monstrosities which perverted the image of God. That's blasphemy. That is wickedness. That's twisted perversion. And I shall establish, I shall make to stand, will have made to stand my covenant with you, itah, and you shall go in. Look at this word, Roger. Tell me, conjugate that word for me, that yuvata. Yuvata.
Okay. Second person masculine, singular cow, wow, consecutive perfect.
I shall have, or you shall have gone into. That's what it literally means. You shall have gone into. This is what we call future perfect. Future perfect. This is prophecy. This is prophecy. The other word was prophecy. This one is prophecy again. God said this is what's going to happen. Didn't have one boy out there swimming either. We had 3 boys in the ark. We're going to see their names here pretty soon again. And you shall go into, you shall have gone into, unto the ark, ha tiva, unto the ark, you and who? Your sons. These sons weren't born after the flood, Brother Roger. They're born before the flood. His son, his only son, was not out there swimming and drowned. Those boys got on the ark, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Your sons and your wives and your wives and the wives of your sons. This is what the Bible says. With you. Now, according to anthropology, how many races of man are there upon the earth? How many basic races? Huh? 3 races. How many children did he have? According to modern anthropology, how many races are there? 3 races. Things changed? No. This is the boys that have established the whole human race. Okay. Yumiko, 6 and 19. Hacha. Well, I've written this up so much that I can hardly even read it. Mikal, Basar, Shanaim, Mikol, Tavi, Hati, Vahel, or El, that is. Oh, I tell you, mine is written up really good. El Hativa, Li Ha Chayath, Ithak, Zakor, Uv Kova. Yehu. All right. And from all is what it literally means. And from all. And from all living things. Living things. What kind of living things were there? There were reptiles. There were cattle, which means big cattle and little cattle. There were horses. There were dogs. There were sheep. There were goats. Tigers and lions. Bears. Okay. All of these things. Lizards. Nahash. Snakes. From all flesh. 2, from all kind. In Greek it says katagenos, in the Septuagint, katagenos. That means according to every genealogy, or every beginning. You shall bring in unto the ark to keep alive, to preserve. Hiphel, infinitive construct, to keep alive. With you, male, zakar, and you, vikiva, and female. They shall keep on becoming. 620. Do you have a question in here, any with this? Is this extra little historical things from the different views? I hope that's helping you from what different people believe. You know, where evolution versus creation, and evolution, or creation versus evolution, and creation versus false religion too. Because we got it all out there, don't we? It's all out there. Miha-ov. Le-menahu. Yumim. Ha-behima. Le-menah. Mikol. Remes. Ha-adamah. Le-menehu. Shinayim. Mikol. Yavu. Ilika. Liha Yoth. Let's go back and look at this now. And from wing flappers. That's what it is. And from wing flappers. That's what it means. Wing flappers. And from wing flappers. That's orneon. Tone orneon. To orneon. What do we get from the word orneon in Greek? Okay, ornithology. That's talking about birds, wing flappers. After his species. Birds after his species. Now, is a bird, what kind of an animal is a bird? Does it breathe? Yeah. All right, so it's a mammal type, breathing person. Breathing, not, it doesn't, birds don't have live young, but what? They lay eggs, like some reptiles. God has a lot of variety when he created, didn't he? I mean, within species you see dramatic things. You mean, and from hema. Hab-behema. What is a hab-behema? In Greek, that's katenon. Even swine. Even the swine, the pigs got on the boat. God created pigs. Did you know that? I don't care what Muhammad thinks. They're not an evolution from Jews. You know, according to Muhammad, the monkeys are evolution from Jews. And swine. These are all swine. These are all monkeys. These Jews are. That's what you call racial prejudice. The cattle, the big beast, after his kind. The big beast. Elephants. These are big ones. Elephants. Camels. Giraffes. Giraffe is a tremendous type of animal, isn't it? Giraffes are pretty tall, aren't they? How tall is a giraffe? Does anybody know? Pretty tall, aren't they? You ever seen a giraffe? Seen a giraffe? They've got big, long necks. What's so different about a giraffe than any other living organism? What's very special about giraffes?
They have a second heart.
Yeah. What is it? Because they have to lift blood so high, and what are there in their veins? We have them too, but not like giraffes. They have check valves. What happens? What happens, Brother Mike? The law of physics, dynamics. When you put a water tower up there and you got a water line coming down 20 or 30 feet, Floyd, what happens? You got water pressure, don't you? A lot of water pressure. How many of you have seen these old water tanks? They're water houses, they're tank houses. On the old farms had tank houses, and they were a wooden structure, and they were a tall wooden structure, and they were just kind of square and went real tall. Inside of that top story was a tank. And they would, by a windmill, they would pump under pressure this water up there, and then you didn't have to have a pump to make the water run because the water came down pretty strong, didn't it? Because of gravity. And that happens in animals if they were that tall. How many hearts would Adam have been if he was 90 feet tall? How many giant check valves? Think about that. And from the wing flappers, after his kind or her kind, and from all of the large animals, the ketanon, that's kappa, tau, eta, nin, omega, nin. Ketanon. After her kind and his kind, and from every creeper. Herpeton. What is herpeton? That's reptiles. Yeah. That's the Greek word for reptile. That's a creeper. The ground, on the earth. Ha-adamah, on the earth. After her species, from all, they shall keep on coming in unto you to keep alive, strong. How's God going to get these animals? How's God going to get animals on the boat? He's going to call them specifically. Come here. There might be 1,000 giraffes out there, but he's going to call 2 of them to come and get on the ark. And they won't have to be tamed or anything like that, besides the animals weren't so wild at that time. But they're going to come right into the ark, and they're going to go there. Now people say, well, these animals are going to be on the ark how long altogether? We'll see that later on. A long time, over a year. They couldn't have got enough food on the ark. What does a turtle do in the wintertime?
Hibernate.
What does a snake do
Hibernate.
They hibernate. Could God cause hibernation to come upon all these beasts? No problem. No problem. No problem. Bears hibernate. They have all these things that hibernate. God could have caused them to hibernate, but he had food for them too. And they shall keep on coming. Look at that, third person masculine plural, cal imperfect. He's going to have the men lead the women. The men animals lead the women animals. Isn't that what it says here? Is what it says. Third person masculine plural. Who's going to be leading? The boy animals are going to be leading the girl animals. All right? To keep alive. Hiphel infinitive construct. To keep alive. I have to look at the time on that to make sure I'm not running out. 6:21. Wiata. Koch. Koch. It's like almost like coughing. Koch. Lika. Mikol. Ma'akol. Asher. Yiakel. We Asafta. Elika. Wihaya. Lika. We lahem. Li a chifa. Or chila, that is. We all chila. And you. We ata. And you. Conjugate that for me, would you, Brother Roger? That kach.
So that's just a second.
Masculine,
It's masculine.
singular, cal.
Is it you or you all?
It doesn't mean, it's just masculine singular.
Okay.
It just means take. It's masculine singular. It's he take. Is what it literally is. He take is what it actually should be translated. He take. Masculine singular, cal imperative. He take for yourself from all food. What it means here is victuals. From all victuals, which he shall keep on eating. He shall keep on eating. And gather, and you gather, look at that, and you shall have gathered, literally, and you shall have gathered unto yourself, and let it become, it shall have become, literally, and it shall have become, for you and for them, for food, for eating. For eating. Do you have any more questions? Have any questions right here? What we have here? We got animals. They're going to be led on the ark by God himself. Noah didn't have to go out and rope a thing. He didn't have to go out and drag them into the ark. They came into the ark. All right? And he's going to go out and he's going to get some food for these animals. For them and for yourself. What kind of food were they eating? What kind of food were all these animals eating at that time? What kind of food were the lions eating? Vegetation. All right. What about the cows? Same thing. So did he have to go out there and what did he have to do? He just got enough food for them all. For them all. He got enough food for all of them. You want to do one more? All right. Waya'as. Noach. Ki kal. Asher. Siwa. Otah. Elohim. Ken. Asal. And he did and kept on doing. Noah. What does Noah mean? Peace and safety. Now let's look at this name. The first 10 names of the Bible tell the whole story of the salvation of mankind. Now that's not by accident. It's not by accident. These names were all inspired of God. From Adam, We have the first Adam. We have the second Adam. We have the first Adam, which gives us a death. We have the second Adam, which gives us life. We have the first Adam, and then the son after that is what? Zeth. Zeth means what?
Replacement.
Substitute or replacement. Jesus Christ, as our substitute and replacement, died on the cross of Calvary. I don't care what Muhammad said. I don't care what any of the Gnostics said. He died upon the cross of Calvary, and he died according to the plan of God, which stood from eternity past. From the Barashith, from the Olam, from eternity's past, God's plan of salvation has always been the same. And you come down through here, you come to the name Enosh. Enosh means what? Dying. He had to die for our sins. And then we have the name ascended. All of these different names all mean he died for our sins, he ascended to heaven. All of these different names, they all meant that, all the way down to Noah. If we follow all the prescription for the salvation from Adam through Noah, Noah means peace and safety. Now, Noah is going to live in a time of great calamity upon the earth. Isn't he? Why wouldn't they name calamity? Calamity Noah, Calamity Jane. Because there was calamity coming on the earth. Because all those that would follow Noah would get into the ark. And in Noah, they would have peace and safety. Outside of the ark was what? Water and judgment. All right, we're going to find out there were 3 sources of water. The springs of the deep would open up and they would gush forth. How many of you ever seen a gusher? Something just gushing out of the ground. There's something, isn't it? Both of you guys, you've been in the oil industry. I mean, it gushes.
I've seen it in the mountains where it just totally amazed me.
Yeah, water just gushes.
Just as though there was a 8-inch water pump pumping as fast as you can, coming straight out of the ground.
Out of the ground.
Straight out of
Go
the
up in
ground.
Wyman Canyon up there, you'll just see water running out of the ground. You go up to the headwaters. The Mississippi River actually has headwaters. You go up there to where it's just a little creek, and it just keeps throwing, and more things keep going and contributing to. This is what we call tributaries. You go up in Fish Lake Valley right today, and there's a hot well up there with water coming out 105 degrees out of this wellhead. If they opened up that wellhead, I don't know how far in the air that water would squirt. But it's coming out to about 250 gallons a minute. Squished down. There's a lot of pressure in that ground. The earth's pressure on water and on oil. Out here at Elk Hills. By the way, why was Elk Hills named Elk Hills?
Truly elk.
The elk were out there all over. They were all over out there. Elk Hills out there. When Standard Oil Company was out there drilling in Elk Hills, to tell you what, they finagled, they fought, and they did everything they could do to keep that. The government was trying to take that away from them at that time. Finally, they did get it. But they drilled out there, and the United States government says, you need to put in casing and put in blowout preventers. They didn't know what blowout preventers were, but there were some geologists up in Washington that said, you need to do this. And they said, we know how to drill oil wells and oil and gas wells. Leave us alone. There was a well out there right when the representatives left from Washington, and they said the next well they would drill, they would do this. But the one they were drilling, that was that gas well and fire out there that went on for weeks. People were killed. Not only that, but they thought, how much of this stuff can escape the earth before the earth starts caving in different places? And out there, if you live out in Valley Acres, near there, what happens to the ground? As they take the oil out, what happens to the ground out there? You can't build a house on a concrete foundation. You do, it's going to go whoop. The house I lived in Valley Acres had pillars drilled 60 feet in the ground. Concrete pillars, 24 inches. And they drilled 60 feet in the ground and poured cement. And they put the house up. The house was built in 1939. And they set that house on these concrete pillars, and they could jack the house up as the pillars went up and down. If you go out there, you'll see the land. Even where they try to water the land, the water goes poof, just like this. They tried to farm out right out there next to my house in Valley Acres, and it dropped about 6 to 8 feet, poof, like that. The ground, they were afraid that with great earthquakes and everything, does oil wells sometimes cause earthquakes? Yep, they do. You must start messing with the earth and you couldn't have problems. Well, they finally started using blowout preventers, and they control how much escapes. How many billions of cubic feet of gas were lost out there in Elk Hills when they drilled that big gas well? And did know, according to all which he had commanded him God. So he had done. So he had done. Now, when you follow God's prescriptions, you can be sure that you're doing the right thing. There is one way of salvation, isn't it? We went from 6:15 through 22. Do you have any questions? Floyd, do you have any questions? I know Hebrew is really complicated, but don't worry about the Hebrew. Just worry about what we're studying from the Bible. Are you getting a little better picture of it?
Well, I'm starting to be able to follow you now.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's hard. You just come in here out of
I'm
the...
kind of lost.
Yeah. Coming out here right to left and everything else is all backwards and upside down. Roger, do you have any questions? How about it, Brother Abe? That guy's smart over there. He could probably ask me something I don't know. You got a question? About all of this geology, the geography of the earth. Do you see how it's changed? Things aren't today as they were. How many earths are there in the Bible? How many earths? Stages of the earth. The earth that was in eternity past, the earth that is today, and the earth that shall become. Well, we have the Trinity of everything, the Trinity of all things. Now, the earth that we stand on has changed tremendously. I hate to use the word evolved, but it is it is in transition right now, isn't it? How many of you know what the tectonic plates are? The earth, basically inside, is molten, isn't it? It's hot. And it's liquid form. And there's water down there, there's oil down there, and there's rocks, lava. The whole earth is molten, like the sun or something. And around here is a crust. Now, at this period of time, the crust was one piece of dirt here and water over here. And then, when you go over here on the chart, and you see human government, and human government did not scatter and multiply. They formed big cities. We have Nimrod and the problem there. And so God started shaking the earth and dividing the earth, and there's where he started moving the tectonic plates, and the earth started shifting and breaking, and water was filling in into these big valleys. Now, what does the ocean look like on the bottom? Huh? It's just like it is here. There's high places and low places. The ocean, if you go up here and drive toward Glenville, you see all the mountains and everything up there. If you drive out to Shark's Tooth Mountain and all up and through that area, the Pozo Creek Road that goes from Hart Park over to Pozo Creek, if you drive through there, that's what the ocean looks like on the bottom. That one time was the bottom of the ocean. We know that was the bottom of the ocean. There's shark's teeth out there. There's all kinds of fossils of every sort out there. And how did they get there? That was one time. That happened either two times. When Satan destroyed the earth, or when God divided the earth. One of those two things. That's how everything got scattered. The earth was divided here, and we have continents. That's what the geologists call the continental drift theory. It's not a theory, that happened. And on this molten rock center, like volcanic going on, there are plates above that are floating on this, and they're shifting. And when you change the pressure down in the earth from the oil and the water or whatever, it causes shifts. Where is one of the largest earthquake faults in the world?
Mississippi.
What's it called?
San Andreas.
The San Andreas Fault, right out here at the base of these mountains. And that's where the tectonic plates shift, right there. And it's not water. Are they in the ocean? Are they these plates that are shifting down there? And are there places there that are very close to the magma where it's spewing volcanic ash and everything now and then? Sure. This is how God made the earth. He divided it. There's no problem with that. When you look at geology and a geologist, you start looking at these things. Why, there's clamshells down there a mile, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles, 10 miles down in the ground. How did they get there? Two sources. Either when Satan destroyed the earth or when God divided the earth. You've got those two choices, whichever one it was. One of those two sources. All right. Anything? Pam, you got a question? All right. Let's go out and do something eternal. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. We thank you for your word. We thank you for the beautiful revelation of it. It's eternal. Father, thank you for having the ability to come here tonight and to preach your word. And I pray that this message goes out all over the world, that it touches people's hearts and that they are assured of their faith that they have in God, and that makes their foundation more sure. Thank you for all the blessings you give us each and every day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.